The grand halls of the Crescent's central tower gleamed with their signature pearl-white shine, but Lily felt none of its usual warmth. Her steps echoed against the polished floor as she approached the family council chamber, her heart beating faster with each step. The summons from her family elders had been unexpected, and in Crescent society, unexpected was never good. The massive doors slid open with a soft hum. Inside, 3 elder members of her family sat behind the curved judgment table, their silvery skin reflecting the soft blue lights of the chamber. Their large, almond-shaped eyes followed her as she took her place in the center of the room. Lily of House Moon, the central elder spoke, his voice carrying the weight of generations. You have reached your 30th cycle. As per our traditions, you should have been married by now. Lily's antenna twitched slightly, a gesture of nervousness that she couldn't hide. Honored elders, I have been focused on my studies of interstellar relations. Your studies are not the concern of this council, the elder on the right cut in. Her voice was sharp, like crystal breaking. The genetic line of House Moon must continue. You carry some of our purest genes. The 3rd elder leaned forward, his expression softer than the others. We have been patient, Lily. But we can wait no longer. The genetic pool of suitable matches shrinks with each passing cycle. I understand, Lily said, though she didn't. Not really. How could she understand a tradition that valued genetic manuscripts over personal choice? The central elder raised his hand, commanding silence. We have reached a decision. You have 30 days to secure a proper marriage match. If you fail, your position within House Moon will be forfeit, along with your inheritance and status. The words hit Lily like a cold wave. 30 days. It might as well have been 30 seconds. She knew the statistics. Out of the entire Crescent population, only about 50 males would be genetically compatible with her family line. Most of them were already married or promised to others. But that's impossible. The words burst from her before she could stop them. The compatibility requirements are necessary for the survival of our species, the female elder interrupted. We cannot afford genetic drift. You know this. You study our history. The Great Decline nearly destroyed us before we implemented these measures. Lily's fingers curled into fists at her sides. What if there aren't any compatible matches available? The central elder's expression didn't change. Then House Moon will seek other arrangements. Your cousin's genetic profile is nearly as pure as yours. She would make a suitable heir. The threat was clear. Lily felt her legs grow weak, but she forced herself to stand straight. In Crescent society, losing one's family status wasn't just about wealth or position. It meant becoming an outsider, marked as genetically unstable. No good family would associate with her. No respected institution would accept her. She would be alone in every way that mattered. 30 days, the central elder repeated. You may use our genetic databases and matchmaking systems. We are not without mercy. He pressed a crystal on the table, and a small data chip floated toward Lily. This contains your latest genetic profile and compatibility requirements. Use it wisely. Lily took the chip with trembling fingers. Yes, honored elders. Thank you for your guidance. The formal words tasted bitter in her mouth. The doors opened behind her. A clear dismissal. As she walked out, her mind raced through possibilities. The traditional matchmaking system had failed her for years. She needed something else, something different. In her quarters, Lily stared at the city through her window. The elegant spires of the Crescent capital reached toward the stars, each one a testament to their species' dedication to perfection. But right now, those same spires felt like prison bars. She placed the genetic chip on her desk and closed her eyes. 30 days to find a match, or lose everything. There had to be a solution. Somewhere, somehow. What she didn't know yet was that the answer would come from the most unexpected place, from a species that the Crescents considered far beneath them. But that revelation would have to wait for another day. Lily sat in the deepest level of the Crescent archives, surrounded by rows of glowing data crystals. 5 days had passed since the Elder's ultimatum, and she had already checked every approved genetic match in their database. Twice. The results were exactly what she'd feared. Not a single suitable match was available. The archive's soft blue lighting flickered as she slumped in her chair. There has to be something, she whispered to the empty room. Anything. Her eyes fell on a section of the archive, marked with red warning symbols, the forbidden knowledge section. Most crescents wouldn't dare go near it, but Lily was running out of options, using her family access codes one last time before they might be stripped away. She bypassed the security locks. The first few records were useless. Failed genetic experiments, banned modification attempts, and other dead ends. But then something caught her eye. A research file titled Cross-Species Compatibility Study, Project Dawn. Lily's fingers moved across the holographic controls. The file opened, revealing research from nearly 50 years ago. Her eyes widened as she read. Project terminated due to social resistance, she read aloud. But the genetic compatibility tests were successful. The more she read, the faster her heart beat. The research showed that while crescents were incompatible with most alien species, there was one remarkable exception. Humans. Their genetic structure was uniquely adaptable, capable of successful genetic bonding with crescent DNA. This can't be right, Lily muttered, but the data was clear. The research had been buried not because it failed, but because it worked too well. The proud crescents couldn't accept that the supposedly primitive humans might be their genetic saviors. She dug deeper into the human files. Their civilization was young compared to the crescents, but they had spread across dozens of worlds in just a few centuries. They were adaptable, resilient, and, according to newer reports, they had established a thriving colony on Nova Station, just 2 days' travel from the crescent homeworld. Lily's antenna tingled with excitement as she downloaded the research to her personal device. It was risky. Accessing forbidden knowledge was bad enough, but actually keeping it, that could get her arrested. But she was already facing social death if she didn't find a solution. As she was about to leave, another file caught her attention. Human pair bonding practices. She opened it quickly. Unlike the rigid, genetics-based matching of crescents, humans chose their mates based on something they called love. The concept seemed strange, choosing a partner based on emotions rather than genetic optimization. But as she read more, something about it called to her. The archive door hummed, signaling someone else was about to enter. Lily quickly closed the files and stood up, trying to look casual as an elderly archivist shuffled in. Still searching the marriage records? The old crescent asked kindly. Lily nodded, clutching her device. Yes, just being thorough. Good luck, child. Though between us, the archivist leaned closer. Sometimes the best answers lie outside the traditional paths. Did he know what she had been reading? Lily couldn't tell from his neutral expression, but she hurried out anyway, her mind racing with possibilities. Back in her quarters, Lily paced as she reviewed the downloaded research. The solution was crazy, probably impossible, definitely scandalous. But it might work. Humans were officially recognized by the Stellar Alliance. A marriage to one would be unusual but legally binding. She looked out at the night sky, where she knew Nova Station orbited, invisible to the naked eye, but suddenly feeling very close. Computer, she said firmly, book me passage to Nova Station. First available flight. The computer chimed. Booking confirmed. Departure in 14 hours. Lily took a deep breath. She had 24 days left to find a human willing to marry her. It was absurd, desperate, and probably doomed to fail. But as she packed her bag, she felt something she hadn't felt since receiving the ultimatum: hope. What she didn't know was that this desperate plan would lead to much more than just a marriage of convenience. But first, she had to find a human who would say yes. Nova Station hung in space like a giant silver wheel, spinning slowly against the backdrop of stars. Lily stood at the observation deck of her transport ship, watching the massive structure grow larger. Her antenna trembled slightly, partly from the ship's vibrations, but mostly from nerves. The ship's AI announced their docking procedures, and Lily gathered her courage along with her belongings. She had never been this close to so many humans before. As she walked through the arrival gate, she was immediately struck by how chaotic everything seemed. Unlike the ordered, quiet halls of Crescent buildings, Nova Station's main concourse was a riot of sound and color. Humans of all sizes and colors rushed past her, their voices loud and their movements unpredictable. Shops and restaurants lined the walls, filling the air with strange smells. "Excuse me." A small human child bumped into her legs, then looked up with wide eyes. "Wow, you're sparkly." "Joey, don't bother the lady." A human mother quickly appeared, gently pulling the child away. "I'm so sorry. He's never seen a Crescent before." Lily managed a polite nod, surprised by the warmth in the human's smile. On her world, such a social mistake would have led to formal apologies and possible fines. Following her research, Lily made her way to the station's engineering sector. Humans were known for their technical skills, and engineers had good social standing. Important if she wanted her family to accept this crazy plan. The engineering bay was a massive space filled with machinery and the sound of tools. Humans in work suits moved with purpose, calling out to each other in their informal way. Lily approached what looked like a supervisor's desk. "I'm looking for information about your engineering staff," she said to the older human man behind the desk. He looked up, surprised. "Don't get many Crescents down here." "What kind of information?" "Demographics, status, availability." She tried to sound professional, but the words felt strange. The man raised an eyebrow. "You want to hire someone?" "Something like that," Lily mumbled. Before he could answer, a loud crash came from nearby, followed by cursing. A young human man emerged from behind a large machine, his work suit covered in grease but a bright smile on his face. "Fixed it," he called out. "The coolant system was completely blocked, but I managed to bypass." He stopped short when he saw Lily. "This is Tom," the supervisor said. "One of our best troubleshooters." "Tom, the lady here is." "Actually, I didn't catch your name." "Lily," she said, studying Tom with growing interest. He was tall for a human, with kind eyes and a confident stance. More importantly, he had solved a complex problem with unconventional thinking. Exactly what she needed. Tom wiped his hands on a cloth and extended one to her. Lily hesitated only briefly before shaking it, noting how warm his skin felt compared to her own. "Nice to meet you," he said. "Don't usually see Crescents in the engineering bay. Everything okay with your systems?" "My systems are fine," Lily said quickly. "I'm here for personal reasons." The supervisor chuckled. "Well, Tom's shift ends in an hour. Maybe you two could continue this conversation over coffee. We've got a new cafe on level 3 that serves both human and alien beverages." Tom looked surprised but not displeased. Lily felt her heart rate increase. Was it really going to be this easy? "I would like that," she said carefully. "Sure, why not?" Tom smiled. "Give me time to clean up. I promise I don't usually look like I lost a fight with an oil tank." An hour later, Lily sat in the cafe, watching the station's artificial day cycle create a sunset effect through the large windows. She had practiced her proposal speech dozens of times on the journey here. Now she just needed the courage to say it. Tom appeared in the cafe doorway, now wearing clean clothes, his hair still damp from a shower. As he walked toward her table, Lily took a deep breath. She had 21 days left, and everything depended on what happened next. What she didn't expect was how her carefully prepared speech would completely fall apart the moment he sat down and smiled at her again. The cafe's soft lighting cast gentle shadows across their table as Lily stared into her untouched drink. Tom sat across from her, casually sipping his coffee, seemingly comfortable with the silence between them. "So," he finally said, "what brings a Crescent noble to the engineering section of Nova Station?" Lily's head snapped up. "How did you know I was noble?" Tom grinned. The way you walk, the quality of your clothes, plus regular crescents don't usually travel alone. He shrugged. I like to notice things. Helps with engineering. Lily took a deep breath. Her carefully prepared speech felt useless now. Perhaps the human way, direct and honest, would work better. I need to get married within 21 days, or I lose everything, she blurted out. Tom choked on his coffee. That's not what I expected you to say. I found research. Lily continued, her words rushing out now that she'd started. Humans are the only species genetically compatible with crescents. My family is demanding I marry to preserve our genetic line. I have no other options. Tom set his cup down slowly. His expression was hard to read. Confusion, interest, horror. Lily wished she was better at understanding human faces. Let me get this straight, he said after a moment. You came to Nova Station looking for a human to marry, and you picked me because you solved that engineering problem in an unusual way, Lily explained. You think differently. That's attractive to me. She felt her silvery skin flush slightly. And you're not already married, according to your employment file. You looked at my file. Tom raised an eyebrow. I had to be thorough, Lily said defensively. This isn't just about marriage. It's about saving my position in House Moon, maintaining genetic diversity in our species, and possibly opening new diplomatic channels between our peoples. To her surprise, Tom didn't look offended. Instead, he looked intrigued. Most people buy me dinner first, he joked, then became serious. What exactly would this marriage mean? What would be expected of me? Lily pulled out her data pad and placed it on the table. I've prepared a contract. You would receive full diplomatic status, access to Crescent technology, and a position as an official liaison between our species. In return, you would need to participate in some genetic compatibility tests and attend certain formal functions. And what about? Tom gestured between them. You know, actual marriage stuff. We would maintain separate residences, Lily said quickly. This is a political arrangement, nothing more. After 1 year, we could quietly separate if you wish. Tom was quiet for a long moment, studying her face. You're really serious about this? I am, Lily whispered. I know it sounds crazy. It probably is crazy. But I'm running out of time and options. To her complete shock, Tom started laughing. Not mockingly. It was a warm, genuine sound that made several other cafe patrons turn to look at them. You know what's really crazy? He said, leaning forward. I'm actually considering it. Lily's antenna perked up. You are? Look, I've spent 5 years on Nova Station trying to improve human-alien relations through engineering. This could do more for cooperation between our species than 100 technical projects. He grinned. Plus, my mother has been nagging me to settle down. Then you'll do it. Lily could hardly believe what she was hearing. Not so fast. Tom held up a hand. I have conditions of my own. First, we get to know each other properly over the next few days. No political stuff, no contracts, just talking. If either of us feels it won't work, we call it off. Deal. Lily hesitated. She hadn't planned for this. Getting to know each other. Talking. But looking at Tom's honest face, she realized she owed him at least that much. Deal, she said, extending her hand like humans did. Tom took it, and that same warmth from before spread through her fingers. Great. Now, since you're going to be my future wife, maybe you should let me buy you a proper drink. One you'll actually taste instead of just stare at. As he stood to go to the counter, Lily found herself smiling. Maybe, just maybe, this crazy plan wasn't so crazy after all. What she didn't know was that Tom had his own reasons for accepting her unusual proposal, reasons that would soon complicate everything. 4 days had passed since Tom agreed to Lily's proposal, and now they stood together in the main communication chamber of Nova Station, facing a holographic projection of the Crescent Family Council. Lily's antenna had been trembling nonstop for the past 10 minutes. "This is completely unacceptable." The female elder's voice filled the chamber. Her silvery face showed more emotion than Lily had ever seen before. "None of it good. A human. Have you lost your mind?" Tom stood straight beside Lily, wearing his freshly pressed engineering uniform. He had insisted on being present for this announcement, despite her warnings about how badly it might go. "Honored elders," Lily began, "I have found a solution that meets all our requirements. The genetic compatibility tests were forbidden for a reason." The central elder interrupted. "We are crescents. We do not mix our pure bloodlines with humans." Tom spoke up, his voice calm but firm. "The same humans who helped design your latest starship engines, the ones who developed the cure for stellar radiation poisoning that saved thousands of Crescent lives last year." The elders fell silent, clearly not used to being challenged by anyone, let alone a human. "Young man," the third elder finally said, trying to sound reasonable, "you seem intelligent. Surely you understand that this arrangement would be difficult for all involved." "What I understand," Tom replied, "is that your species faces a genetic bottleneck. Your population is declining because of too few compatible matches. My species could help solve that problem." Lily stared at Tom in surprise. He had been studying crescent biology and history in his free time, she realized, preparing for exactly this moment. The political implications alone. The female elder began. "Would be tremendous," came a new voice. Everyone turned as the human ambassador to Nova Station walked into the chamber. "Sorry to interrupt, but news travels fast on a space station." The ambassador, a tall woman with gray hair, smiled at the projected elders. "My office has already received 6 calls from other species asking about human genetic compatibility testing. It seems House Moon might be starting a very profitable trend." Lily felt a surge of hope. She hadn't planned this, hadn't even known the ambassador was aware of their situation. But Tom winked at her, and she suddenly understood. He had been making his own preparations. The central elder's expression shifted slightly. "Profitable, you say?" "Very," the ambassador nodded. "Of course, if House Moon rejects this union, I'm sure other Crescent houses would be eager to be the first." "Now let's not be hasty," the third elder cut in. "Perhaps we should discuss this further." As the elders and the ambassador began talking politics and trade agreements, Tom gently touched Lily's hand. "You okay?" he whispered. She realized she had stopped trembling. "You planned this?" "Asked a few friends for help," he shrugged. "Engineers aren't the only ones who like solving problems." Before Lily could respond, her personal communicator chimed. The message made her silver skin pale even further. "What is it?" Tom asked. "My parents," Lily whispered. "They're coming to Nova Station tomorrow." The next day, Lily paced in her temporary quarters. Her parents would arrive any minute, and despite Tom's confidence and the ambassador's support, she was terrified. The family council might care about politics and profit, but her parents, they were far more traditional. A gentle knock at her door made her jump. Tom stood there, but he wasn't alone. Behind him were several other humans from the engineering bay, all wearing their best uniforms. "Your future in-laws are about to dock," Tom said with a smile. "I thought you might want some support when you meet them." Looking at the friendly faces of these humans who had no reason to help her except kindness, Lily felt tears form in her eyes. For the first time, she wondered if she had found something more valuable than just a political marriage. Then the station's AI announced the arrival of her parents' ship, and Lily straightened her shoulders. It was time to face the hardest challenge yet, convincing her parents that a human could be more than just a convenient solution to their problems. What she didn't expect was that her parents had a surprising secret of their own. Lily stood in Nova Station's diplomatic reception room, her heart pounding as the doors slid open. Her parents entered, their silvery skin gleaming under the lights, their formal robes floating gracefully around them. Tom and his engineering friends stood respectfully behind her. Her mother spoke first. "Lily, what have you done?" But there was something strange in her mother's voice. Not anger, but worry, fear. "Mother, father, I can explain," Lily began. "Not here," her father interrupted, looking around nervously. "We must speak privately. Just family." He paused, looking at Tom. "And your chosen one." In a private conference room, Lily's parents sat across from her and Tom. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then her mother reached into her robes and pulled out an old data crystal. "Before you continue with this marriage," she said softly, "there's something you need to know. About our family. About me." Her father reached over and held her mother's hand as she placed the crystal on the table. "Mother?" Lily asked, confused. "Play it," her mother whispered. Tom activated the crystal. A hologram appeared. A much younger version of Lily's mother, standing next to a human man in an old-style space uniform. They were smiling, holding hands. Lily's antenna went completely straight in shock. "What is this?" "My first marriage," her mother said quietly. 30 years ago, before I met your father. His name was Jack. He was a space explorer, one of the first humans to contact our species." Tom leaned forward, fascinated. "What happened?" "The family council found out," Lily's father explained. "They forced us to end it. Erased all records, made it look like it never happened." He looked at his wife with gentle eyes. "A year later, they arranged our marriage." But that's impossible," Lily stammered. "You're one of the most traditional couples I know." Her mother smiled sadly. "We had to be. To protect you. To protect our position. But when we heard about your plan," she looked at Tom, "we couldn't let you face the same pain I did." "We came to warn you," her father added. "The council will never accept this. They'll do anything to stop it." Tom had been quiet, thinking. Now he spoke. "Things are different now. The ambassador is involved. Other houses are interested. They can't just erase us. Can't they?" Lily's mother reached for the crystal, but Tom gently caught her hand. "No," he said firmly. "They can't. Because this time, we have proof of what they did before." He gestured to the crystal. "This isn't just about Lily and me anymore. It's about making things right." Lily watched in amazement as her mother's eyes filled with tears. Her father wrapped an arm around her mother's shoulders. "You remind me of Jack," her mother told Tom. "He was brave too. And kind." "What happened to him?" Lily asked softly. "He respected the council's decision," her mother said. "Left Crescent space. Last I heard, he had a family somewhere near Earth." She smiled at Tom. "But he never stopped believing that humans and Crescents could live together in peace." Tom stood up. "Then let's prove him right. We'll need your help, though. Both of you." Lily's father looked uncertain. "The council needs to change," Lily said, finding her voice. "Mother, father, help us change it." Her parents looked at each other, having one of those silent conversations Lily had seen them share throughout her life. Finally, they both nodded. "We'll help," her father said, "but you'll need more than just us. You'll need—" An urgent message flashed on the room's display screen. Lily read it and felt her heart sink. "The council," she whispered. "They're calling an emergency session. Tomorrow." She looked at Tom. "They're going to try to stop this. To stop us." Tom reached for her hand. The warmth of his touch gave her strength. "Let them try," he said quietly. "We have something they don't." "What's that?" Lily asked. Tom smiled. "The truth, and each other." As her parents watched this simple exchange, Lily saw her mother smile. Really smile. For the first time in years. Tomorrow would bring their biggest challenge yet, but for now, in this room, old wounds were beginning to heal. What they didn't know was that across Nova Station, others were watching, waiting, and preparing to take sides in what would become much more than just a fight for one marriage. The great hall of Nova Station buzzed with tension. On one side stood the Crescent family council members, their silvery robes shimmering under the lights. On the other, Lily and Tom faced them, surrounded by their supporters, human engineers, station officials, and to everyone's surprise, representatives from 3 other alien species. Lily's parents sat in the front row, hands clasped together. Her mother held the old data crystal that had changed everything. The central elder spoke first, his voice echoing through the hall. This session will decide the validity of the proposed union between House Moon and the human engineer. His tone made the last words sound like an insult. Before you begin, the human ambassador stepped forward. I have statements from 12 Crescent houses supporting this marriage. Impossible. The female elder snapped. Quite possible, came a new voice. A young Crescent noble stood up. House Star supports this union. Our genetic studies show human compatibility could save hundreds of our bloodlines. More Crescents stood, voicing their support. The council members shifted uncomfortably. This changes nothing, the central elder declared. The purity of House Moon was never pure to begin with. Lily's mother interrupted, standing. Her voice shook but grew stronger with each word. Play the crystal. Before anyone could stop her, she activated it. The hologram filled the hall, her younger self and Jack, the human explorer, their happiness obvious to everyone. Gasps filled the room. The female elder turned an unusual shade of pale silver. You dare bring this shame, she began, but Tom cut her off. Shame. His voice was quiet but carried clearly. The only shame is hiding love because of fear. He turned to face the crowd. 30 years ago, you forced them apart. You erased their story, but you couldn't erase the truth. Humans and Crescents can be more than just politically convenient allies. Lily stepped forward, her antenna straight with determination. I came to Tom seeking a marriage of convenience. What I found was understanding, kindness, things our society claims to value but has forgotten in our quest for genetic purity. The central elder raised his hand. Enough. We will not be lectured by. By whom? A new voice rang out. An elderly Crescent stepped forward. The archivist from the records hall. By those brave enough to question our mistakes. I have watched our population decline for 50 years. I have seen promising bloodlines end because we were too proud to adapt. Murmurs of agreement spread through the hall. The council members looked at each other uncertainly. Tom took Lily's hand. We're not asking for permission anymore, he said clearly. We're getting married. The only question is whether the Crescent people will move forward with us or cling to the past and watch their society slowly fade away. The third elder, who had been quiet until now, suddenly laughed. Everyone stared at him in shock. Do you know, he said, I had a human friend once. Brilliant scientist. Always told me we Crescents thought too much about endings and not enough about beginnings. He stood up. I vote to approve this union. The female elder gasped. You can't. I can, he said firmly. And I do. Who stands with me? One by one, hands raised throughout the hall. The central elder looked around, seeing the tide of history turning before his eyes. The council. He hesitated, then straightened. The council recognizes and approves the union of House Moon and Engineer Tom of Earth. The hall erupted in cheers. Lily felt Tom's arms around her, heard her mother crying happy tears, saw her father standing proud. Later, as they stood at the station's observation deck watching the stars, Tom asked, was it worth it? All the trouble? Lily looked at him, seeing not just the convenient solution she'd first sought, but the partner she'd found. Yes, she said, though I believe this is just the beginning. Of what? She smiled. Of showing the galaxy that the best traditions aren't the ones we keep unchanged, but the ones we allow to grow. As if to prove her point, behind them, A young Crescent noble was shyly asking the human scientist about engineering programs on Earth. The end. Epilogue. 6 months later, the first official human Crescent cultural exchange program launched on Nova Station. Lily and Tom led the project together, their marriage serving as a bridge between worlds. And in a small gesture that meant everything, they restored Jack's name to the official Crescent historical records, finally telling the story that had been hidden for so long.